Hello and welcome to this forging session. We're going to be making a couple of shoes for Spavin. We're going to make a lateral square heeled hind with a set toe and a traditional Spavin shoe with the heels welded over. So before we start, the tools you need are pretty simple. Regular fullered stamp, couple of pritchels in the middle, centre dot, back punch, ruler, starter, finisher, and a set hammer and some safety goggles, a bit of flux and a brush. So I've kind of set the table out. This is for the square heel shoe, this is for the Spavin shoe, and my pritchels are going to do both. Both shoes are made from 1.38", 13 inches. The Spavin shoe I've marked on the outside 1.25" from the end, and the inside 1.125", and that's how much we're going to fold over. So both shoes are 1.38", 13 inch. And I'm going to talk you through the system as I go. So the first thing we do is we're going to bring out the Spavin shoe, because there's more work on the Spavin shoe. We're going to slightly narrow up the end, and we're going to put a little scarf on the end, and we're going to bring it back on itself and weld it, so it's going to actually come back over here. The reason we narrow it is then it's going to weld better, because it's got a narrower piece and a wider piece. So first thing we're going to do is put our little scarf on. You can make these shoes in the Coke. I'm making them in the gas just because I can talk my way through it better. So I look at where my dot is, and I'm just going to narrow that little bit up from the end of the dot. We can see the dot, and then with the heel of the hammer you're putting a little scarf all the way down to the end of the hammer, up to your dot, little smack, and bend that over. It's not going to look pretty, just get it bent over. Round it goes. And now at this stage it's better, if you keep hitting the top you're just going to flatten it. To get rid of that, bend it over, and that's together. So we see the top slightly narrower than the bottom. Now we need to turn it round like this, and we're just going to use the heel of the hammer to push that scarf in. Because when we're welding, if we use the corner of the hammer, we're going to get a lot better weld. So when we bring this out, this is the first move, is to pin the end, then we're going to turn it round, we're going to smack down it and smack along the sides. Because this is slightly narrower and wider, we can actually weld that in. So a little bit of flux on there. Now the beauty of it being pre-recorded is obviously you can watch back over it and watch little bits and pieces. So that's the Spavin shoe, the traditional. Now this is going to be the lateral heel. I'm just shortening my bump because we want a nice lateral heel on it, and we're just going to jump that up nice and square. As soon as it bends, straighten it up. So I've jumped it up. Now I want to put my reverse heel on it. So I'm going to start on through my angle. I'm not square, look. Again. Right, so I'll give you a little measure, and we're going to have a little heat on that and finish it. So we started with 13 inch, we're down at 11.75, so 1.25" in here. Might take you another heat, it doesn't matter as long as you get the system. So we're going to weld this heel, so the flux is going to smoke, then it's going to start running. So it's just about ready, so I'm going to bring it round. I'm going to weld the heel, I'm going to weld the sides. It's going to probably happen quite quickly. So out we come, round, weld the front real gentle, sides, Make sure there's no scarf there. Okay, and that's our, it's welded. So now we're going to go up to a sharp edge. We're going to just put enough on, and we're going to weld that down like that. We're going to have a heat and just do some work on that. I'm just going to start my heel. So I'm going to bring it out. I'm going to, when it's hot, I'm going to give it a good smack there, and then I'm going to drive it back. So let's get some flux on it. And that's created our height of our spavin. That's back in. And now we're going to go with the other shoe. And this is just a quick heat, really, just to finish this reverse heel. Put a little check on that side. Sometimes it's easier just to square it up like that. Just running the section now, so I've got a nice taper all the way along it. Want to touch more angle, so we can just bring that back like that. So that's our outside heel done. We've got a lovely lateral support. So now I haven't got any marks on this. I'm just going to rattle the inside, and then we'll put a mark on it. That'll be the easiest thing to do. So it's nice and hot up to the edge where we want it. So it's really important that I'm pulling back when I do that. Okay, so we've got a nice square edge. We're going to start, obviously when the horse stands on it, it needs a slope on it. So the front is slightly lower than the back. Like that. If you want to tidy it up a bit, you can just, that's hitting back square. But I'm going to pretty much rough these out. I'm not going to go into tip-tappy mode. We're going to get these roughed out for you. Okay. So that's our one done. What you can also do is just grab it, hang it on there like that. And you can rasp that up a bit if you want. We're not going to bother. So now we're just going to check. This next one's going to come down that way, and it will be the same side as the other side. So just to make sure you know in your mind before you bring it out. If you do it that way, it's going to be the opposite side. I've done it before. It doesn't work great. So put that in. So now we're just going to get a bit of a reference point on this inside. So we'll just give it a little rattle. So I've rattled it up, flatten. Start your heel check, but remember which side's which. That's reverse heel. So this is the heel check. If in doubt, just put a nice round heel on it, and you can always commit yourself at a later date. Okay. So now we've got our section. This heel wants a bit more canter action on it, but we'll just check our measurement now of what we've got. Probably back to what we started with. Not quite, I suppose, but so 12, that's a good little shoe. So we're going to go, wants to be a decent bit off centre, because of the square heel. It's going to take more steel to get to the end. So that'll be about right. So that's 1/2 inch off centre, 1/4 inch on your ruler, 1/2 inch in total. So it's a tiny little dot. Put a tiny dot and you can always move it. So this end is 6 1/4 and that end is 5 3, just about. So that dot wants to go very slightly there. Like I say, put a small dot on it and you can always change it. We don't need to upset the toe because we've left the section, so I've kind of been a bit crafty. So now we need a big pair of hollow bits, and we're just doing exactly the same as the other end. So narrow, reel with the heel down to the anvil. There's the dot. Really important you bend it on the dot, otherwise your heel is going to be bigger than the other one. Remember, over. Now we need to get rid of them tongs because we need to do what we've been doing, which is give it a little in there. That's our scarf. Check there's no gaps, which there isn't. A little brush and we're going to flux it up. But the most important thing is you've got to pin this end. You know, you're probably watching thinking, why is it, mine's going to flip up. If you pin that end and you weld the sides, it'll be absolutely fine. You know, it's welded. And the length of these heels depends on the individual horse, depends on the height. These are a real basic, simple pair of shoes. If you want to make one with bigger heels, absolutely fine. It depends on the individual horse. These are really good shoes for specimens, for a board, especially if you've related them to everyday farrowing. So now we're going to just bend the toe. It's actually a good morning to be in here because Storm Christopher's here. So I'm just going to shorten my heat just so I get a bit of a, this is quite a small shoe and I want an accurate toe. So I've just shortened that and then I can get an accurate toe then. Come over. Little flatten on the inside edge. And we'll have a little look. That dot's about right. So I'm just going to set my toe up gentle. It's a bit too round just there off the toe. So we'll just there. Set that up. And I'm going to live with that. So now I'm going to just use simple chalk. I'm going to mark my fuller in. I'm just going to go halfway because from the halfway back I'm going to put another fuller in, which is just a bit of style, and it's also a skill test. It's going to test your skill and ability. Am I a big believer in double fullering? No, I'm a believer in we need the platform for the horse. So if we add more fullering, we add more traction. So I'm not a believer in it really, but it's a good skill test. So bring it out, turn it round, heel it. That's that welded. Sides, top. If I'm happy, I can go up to the edge of the anvil, sneak a little touch. So you can see that I've sneaked a bit, it's called, which makes a better weld. So you're not relying on that little pin. We've actually pinned it further down the branch now. We're just tidying the heel. This is quite awkward because it's really hard to hold. So swap to your other tongs. Like that. I'm just starting my heel forging. because then when I bring it out hot, I can tidy up the middle of the heel then. This is the inside, so this one's a little bit shorter, which is right. And these are just little simple heels. You know, when I've done longer ones, the longer it is, the harder the weld. So that's a harder weld, that's a little bit longer. So, because we're in the gas, we've got a nice heat here. So we can now, I'm going to get on with it a bit. I'm going to alter my heel angle. I want us to come back a touch. Happy with that. Now, I'm going to hem my fuller in, not too much, because we wanted to make a wider branch. So I've sunk halfway from here. We've got a nice overlap of fullering. I tend to only fuller halfway, it leaves the strength. But what that fullering has done is it's kind of knackered my outside heel that I had at a nice angle. And that's experienced that, but we need to bring that back. So I'm going to have a little heat on that, we're going to bring that heel back. And we can do that because we've got this one hot, so we're not messing about. Bring the front down. Edge of the handle. I'm just bringing that back so my hand's nice and flat and this hand's parallel there. So in front of the shoe I want it the same thickness, I don't want it set down. It's not a caulking wedge. And that's a nice little Spavin heel, so let's just mark our toe on that. So now we have 11.5, just under, so we'll just go there. So we'll check it, it's really important. 5 5/8, 5 3 for the outside. Tiny little dot again. You don't have to bob punch it. Put that in. Now I might be able to fix this heel and bend it. I have to bring it back there, look, there. That looks better. That's a better angle. And this is like the worst bit in the world, is bending the quarter. See how accurate I set it up, right on the quarter. It's a touch round in here. So concentrate on the bit you want to alter there. We want a very definite straight quarter on this, because the foot will be contracted, so it's really important we have a definite straight quarter. So now we're set up, look, so our heel is square with the toe, and that's all experience. Now I need to get on a bit because I'm talking too much. So there, right, you see my nice overlap now I was talking about. It kind of looks nice, especially if you're making a specimen. Now these nails here depend on the hoof, but I'm going for, I'm just going to put 2 in it, further forward. I just need to grab my grease. So before I flatten that, clean your handle, brush your top, turn it over. And you see I haven't put any boxing on here. It's easier to do that really with the linear, or you can hammer box it. But that depends on the foot. I'd rather fit it and then do it. But we've got our shoe, we've got our characteristics, which is quite good. I'll just grab my tool grease. I know you start the old lecture and you think I've got everything on the table, and you never do. And that's really important, that before especially your diploma or any competition, you take 5 minutes at the start and go through everything you've got. And that's really important. Because I'm experienced, I haven't got flustered, but that simply forgetting your tool grease can get you flustered straight away. So, these NCs, get them up. So we're going to shorten the heat again. I think that's really important so we get a better toe bend. And I think looking at the clock, we've been going about 20 odd minutes. So I've rattled on. And I think that's important, is you learn from my work ethic and how quick I'm going. I'm getting stuff done. As soon as I've got it done, I'm putting it back in the fire. I'm not hitting it any harder than anyone else can do. Just setting our toe up. Now this one we're just going to set up a little bit differently. I'm just going to pinch my toe quarters to set up that nice toe. There. And there. Just to set it up. I'm going to mark that now. And now we're going to set toe it. So we're going to come back from our line ever so slightly for the set toe. We'll give that a little mark. This is going to be plain stamped. And then we're going to have a little heat on the outside. We're going to forge it up. If we're happy, we'll bend it and we'll stamp it. If we're not, we'll have another heat on it. We're doing good. So inside, the inside on this lateral extension, I'm going to plain stamp it. You can fuller it. I'm going to plain stamp it just because ideally we would want to reduce the traction there. You know, majority of the horses with Spavin, they do twist, so we have a bit of grip on the outside and less on the inside. So we're going to bend that. You see how I set up my quarter, flatten, have a look. We want to just come there, gentle now. Can have a little look at it. I think that's about right for the characteristics I wanted. So we're going to put the nail hole across with the nail hole, not the fullering, and these are going to be further back because this is compromised because it's got lateral support. And I've got my little starter. And this is really trusting my experience that I haven't even marked them. I've just gone straight in. That's something you get with time. The starter's not really bulged it, so we can just flatten, edge it, nice and square. It's probably getting a little bit cold now, but I'm committed, so finisher. Couple with the finisher, and now we're going to pritchel it. Again, before you flatten, flat brush, clean it. And now I take just a few seconds, I look at my toe. Is my toe about right? Can I set that toe? I believe I can. I need to just edge this a little touch. So this is a set toe, and this shoe's finished. Barring a bit of rasping, you know, it's finished. We'll just turn that down a little bit. We're going to have a quick couple of... So, I just want to sweeten my branch ever so slightly. If these heels are welded, they are not going to open up. If they're not welded, they are going to open up. It's a bit awkward. You've got a quarter bend. You'll be quite straight back with a Spavin horse. You know, because it's going to have a bit of length. See if you can see I've brought the front down. And we're going to go for it. You ain't going to learn a lot more me messing about. Plus, my other shoe's going to be finished pretty quick. I try to figure out shoes in like 9 heats, 10 heats. Then you're efficient. If you can do that. But what you'll know is I knew exactly in my mind every single heat what I was going to do in the next heat. And that's really important. I wasn't bringing it out and going, well, do you think I should just bend that? I knew exactly what I was going to do and I've got on with it. I even had a backup set hammer just in case I wasn't happy with the edges. I could drop that in there, but I don't need to, so that's fine. System, brush. We're just going to do that. And we'll just do some edges. Edge on the back there. And that's edged up. So that's the basic Spavin shoe on that side. And we'll do the inside. So the inside heel's a bit short than the outside. Like I say, we've got the angle on the front, and that's really important, is this slope. So that when the horse is stood on it, it's going to be stood so that it's weight bearing on it. If that was square all the way, it would be like that. And this is the whole idea is this counteracts the toe. You know, we want to provide a bearing there. Flip that in. Now the set toe, there's multiple ways of doing it. You can hold your shoe that side and set it towards you. You can hold it this side and set it towards you. The key is once you put your toe on there, if you do it this way, you want to go half the way, half the distance of the toe, and you want to concentrate your hammer blows to start with on this end and this end, so we get that parallel. That's not parallel up, so we'd have to get it set up parallel. There, and then in the middle. Then if you're happy, turn it over, check it's square. If it's not square, you can fix it. If you're too far gone, you can't fix it. That's the basis. And like I said, these are really good forging shoes. I haven't made a Spavin shoe for a long time. But because I've done it over the years, I've done the practice, I've got the experience. So before I do my toe is slightly out on the angle. So let's alter that first. There's never the perfect shoe. That's better. So I'm going to go up to the edge. I'm holding it 2 pairs of two grip points. That side, that side, that side. I'm going to flip it over, and now it's most important I see it square. It is square, so now I'll drop it back and I simply hammer which we all say never to do. Hammer this inside edge back down. It's very important, we don't want sole pressure there. And then we're just going to come up, and now we're just going to gentle straighten our line. Now lines are made with a hammer, not with a rasp. So that's the line done. That's our set toe. We're just going to level it. There. And now the basics are all there now. It's got a decent set toe, it's balanced, it's got a nice outside, it's got a good square heel. You can see that the balance of the shoe is slightly tighter outside than inside. The outside quarter slightly earlier. This is starting to think like a horseshoer, because that's what happens, is the outside claps, the quarter runs forward, the inside comes later. So we're going to have a tiny little heat. I'm just going to fuller it, do my nail holes, and clean it up. I think that's is done. So that's half an hour from when we started, plus a bit of Yorkshire talk. And I would expect you to all be able to make these in an hour and a half. And I wouldn't expect you to be able to make them perfect first time. You might have to take a couple of goes. Okay, now that's interesting. When I started to bend that one, it started to open up on the weld. So don't do any more. Straighten it. It was all going far too good. Put a little bit of flux on that. And that sometimes happens. We'll put that in. And we can just finish this. So you see it's quite clean without any brushing. I've kind of kept it. I haven't had the fire running too fast. But I like parallel lines. So I judge a shoe by parallel lines. I look at this line and the next one, and I've got that meeting nice there. And you know, I've got a little finisher. So sometimes with a finisher you can turn it round the other way and just tap it in. And with my nail holes, I always one with a stamp. I've got a nice full stop. Really important that we have a nice full stop. So we show it off. If you make the Spavin shoe in the Coke, you won't have that issue with the welding. Definitely not. It'll get a better weld. We'll just give that a little back hole. And I think that's us done with this one. Little brush. But the secret is the fire. You know, you can make clean shoes in the gas. You just need to run it like a Coke forge. Turn it on and off. That's our Spavin shoe. Nice set toe. Well, I keep saying that's our Spavin shoe. That's our lateral heel extension Spavin shoe. So, Spavin now, let's bring it out. Let's weld that little bit, look. Now, while it's still at welding temperature, bend the branch. Okay, so I've welded it and bent it at the same time. So I've kind of, and it's actually, you know, every time I do a clinic or teaching, I always mention people that have taught me, and Gary Darlow, who a lot of you might not have heard of, taught me the most. He taught me the keep calm, something is going to go wrong, and it actually, the person that ends up with the highest mark or the wins the competition is the one that makes the least amount of mistakes, because everyone is going to make mistakes. And what I've done with this heel is I've re-welded it, I've actually fixed it. Actually now it's pretty good. Now it looks a little bit small compared to that one, so what I can do is just simply narrow it up a bit. Now I'm looking at that looks nice now. My toenail looks slightly back, so we'll just move that up. Finish up. And we'll pritchel. Level, or flatten should I say, edges. I'm just going to edge the top of that heel, so there. And I'm just going to set my toe. So I've checked my toe, I'm happy with that. I'm going to set my toe, inside quarters a bit late, pop that on, and we'll get it set. Just clean our glasses. We're going to set the toe. I'm going to finish the shoe in this heat. Then we've kind of kept to a system. If I'm ever waiting for a heat, I always try to keep myself busy, so start to organise what I need next. So I need my brush next, probably going to need the finisher, and I just have a little organisation, make sure my back pritchel's there. I try to put it down tidy, but it never goes to plan. And we'll get this done. I also think that for your diploma board, it's very interesting if you have shoes that you've applied, but also that you know the anatomical background. So Spavin, everyone will know the anatomical background. They'll know what happens. They'll know the cases. That's really important. But there's multiple variations. You could have no fuller in here. You could have fuller in here. You could have that plain stamp. You could have that plain stamp, and you could have that fullered to add grip at the heel quarter. But the most important thing is we've got to have the basics, so you can see the section control. And when I say section control, it looks a simple shoe, but it catches your eye because it's got a good toe on it. It's got an inch toe. It's got a 3/4 inside branch. It's got a 1 3/8 outside branch, and it's got an inch outside toe. So it's got a just over inch toe. Then it's a little bit where the foot where you're going to nail it's a bit narrow. Then it comes wide. So it's got it all going on, and it makes it nice. So this one is going to be a little bit of a pig, because if you thought the first one was hard to set the toe, this one's going to be harder because it's got 2 heels on it. Now what I would say is a really good tip is, if you want to do the set toe, don't get to this stage and try your first ever set toe. Get an old shoe out the scrap pile, put a set toe on it. Learn the actual new process you've never done before you do it. So this one I've put a slightly taller set toe because of the stage of Spavin. If you're putting this heel on it, it's quite a bad stage, so we're wanting to speed it up, so it's going to be on its toe a lot more. But that toe depends on the individual. So you've seen what I've done. I've levelled it. I'm going to come back over again. I'm just going to clean up my lines. Now we need to hold our tongs here, because it's really awkward to hold. I'm just gonna do my edges. Normally I'd have another heat on this and finish it, but I think you've seen enough, everyone. It's a little bit chunky just there on the heel, so just narrow that a touch. And now we'll just give it a wee. My toe's just not slightly square enough, so I'm just going to fix that. It's a bit high that side. I can easily do that. Little Pritchell, you know the drill. So pretty much, after you've set the toe, there's very little altering you can do. You obviously can't alter the toe shape, so your toe shape's got to be right. Let's give that a clean. It's going to edge my toe a touch. So you see it's got a larger spavin on that, a larger set toe, sorry. And then you'd have a look at it, it's sat on it, which is good. So that's sat pretty nice. Let's back Pritchell it. And job's a good one. So like I say, make sure you've got all the tools right, set out, you've got the system, 13 inches, inch by 8. If you want to learn stuff, get an old shoe or an off-cut of steel, that's an off-cut of steel, put the Spavin shoe on the end. Always learn the stages before you commit to the shoe. You can practice that and put 10 on in half an hour. To get to this stage, it's going to probably take you 45 minutes. Some of you will be laughing, maybe an hour. And then these would just get rasped up. But to be honest with you, the lateral heel wouldn't need a lot of rasping, but these sets want a little tidy up and a rasp. So enjoy yourselves.